Disclaimer: this video is for educational and documentary purposes. The goal of this channel isn't to promote or glorify violence, but to analyze events and learn from them. 5. The University of Texas Tower Shooting. It was August 1st, 1966, a normal summer day at the University of Texas in Austin. Students strolled across campus, tourists enjoyed the observation deck, and the city moved at its usual pace. At 11:48 a.m., Charles Whitman, a former U.S. Marine and engineering student, carried rifles and ammunition to the top of the university's clock tower. From that height, he began firing at people below, striking students, faculty, and visitors alike. Panic spread as people ducked behind cars, trees, and stone walls. For more than 90 minutes, Whitman fired on the campus. Police, civilians, and even armed students attempted to stop him. Eventually, officers reached the top of the tower and shot the gunman, but 16 were already killed and over 30 injured. The attack exposed gaps in law enforcement response to active shooters and led to the creation of modern SWAT teams and rapid response tactics. It was also one of the first mass shootings broadcast widely on television, leaving a lasting mark on American society. The University of Texas Tower Shooting remains a sobering reminder of how quickly ordinary days can become unimaginable tragedies, and how preparation, coordination, and awareness are critical when violence strikes. 4. Robb Elementary School Shooting. On the morning of May 24, 2022, the small town of Uvalde, Texas was preparing for the last days of the school year. Inside, students were finishing classes and teachers were preparing for summer break. Within minutes, that ordinary day would turn into one of the deadliest school shootings in Texas history. At 11:28 a.m., an 18-year-old gunman, later identified as Salvador Rolando Ramos, crashed a truck near the school and walked toward the building carrying a rifle. Surveillance footage later showed him entering through an unlocked door around 11:33 a.m. Moments later, gunfire erupted inside two connected classrooms. Teachers attempted to protect their students as calls to emergency services flooded in. Within minutes, police officers arrived at the school, but confusion quickly developed about how to respond. What followed became one of the most controversial moments of the tragedy. Officers remained in the hallway for more than an hour, while the attacker stayed inside the classroom. Investigations later revealed serious breakdowns in command, communication, and active shooter training. At 12:50 p.m., a specialized tactical team finally breached the classroom and killed the gunman. By then, 19 children and 2 teachers had been killed. The tragedy, now known as the Uvalde, triggered nationwide outrage and multiple investigations. Reports later concluded that the response was a systemic failure, citing delayed decision-making, poor coordination among officers, and an unlocked school door that allowed the attacker to enter. The attack forced major changes in school safety discussions across the United States. Police training programs began emphasizing immediate confrontation of active shooters, while many schools reviewed their lockdown procedures and security policies. What happened that day in Uvalde remains a painful reminder of how quickly tragedy can unfold, and how critical preparation and rapid response can be in moments of crisis. 3. The 2019 El Paso Walmart shooting. It was a quiet summer morning on August 3, 2019, in El Paso, Texas. Shoppers wandered through the Walmart aisles, families grabbing groceries, unaware that in just moments their day would be shattered. At 10:39 a.m., Patrick Crusius entered the store, armed with rifles. Within seconds, he began firing. Screams echoed as people dove behind shelves, employees guided customers to safety, and chaos consumed the store. In the span of minutes, 22 lives were lost and dozens more were injured. Authorities arrived swiftly, securing the scene and evacuating survivors. Investigators later revealed that the attack was racially motivated, targeting the Hispanic community. A manifesto online confirmed his extremist beliefs, classifying this as an act of domestic terrorism. The tragedy forced businesses and communities to rethink safety. Walmart and other public spaces improved active shooter training, emergency plans, and evacuation procedures, hoping no one else would face such horror. The El Paso shooting changed how America views hate-driven attacks and the importance of community safety. 2. Luby's Cafeteria shooting. It was a peaceful afternoon on October 16, 1991, at Luby's Cafeteria in Killeen, Texas. Families and friends were enjoying lunch. the chatter of diners filling the air, when a routine day turned into a nightmare. Around 12:38 p.m., a man named George Hennard drove his pickup truck through the front window of the cafeteria. Without warning, he began shooting indiscriminately at everyone inside. Patrons and employees scrambled for cover, diving behind tables and counters, while screams echoed throughout the restaurant. Over the next minutes, 23 people were killed and 27 others injured before the shooter took his own life. The attack became one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history at that time. Investigators later pieced together Hennard's planning and motives, uncovering a history of personal grievances and deeply held anger that culminated in this violent act. His rampage exposed glaring gaps in public safety and emergency response. In the aftermath, Colleen and the nation were forced to confront how easily such attacks could happen in everyday places. The tragedy led to changes in law enforcement tactics, public awareness of active shooter situations, and emergency preparedness training in public venues across the country. The Luby's Cafeteria shooting is remembered not just for the lives lost, but for the lessons it taught about vigilance, preparedness, and the need to respond quickly when violence strikes unexpectedly. 1. Sutherland Springs church shooting. It was November 5, 2017, a quiet Sunday morning in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Families filled the pews of the First Baptist Church, ready for worship, unaware that tragedy was about to strike. Shortly after the service began, Devin Patrick Kelly, a former U.S. Air Force, entered the church armed with rifles. Without warning, he opened fire on the congregation. Panic erupted as people scrambled for cover, some fleeing into the surrounding fields, others desperately shielding loved ones. In minutes, 26 innocent lives were lost, and dozens more were injured. Local residents quickly called authorities, and a brave civilian gave chase, confronting the shooter as he tried to flee. Investigators later uncovered Kelly's troubling history, including a prior violent conviction, highlighting how warning signs had been missed. The attack prompted nationwide discussion about gun control, church security, and emergency preparedness in small communities. The Sutherland Springs tragedy is remembered not only for the lives taken, but also for the lessons it taught about vigilance, rapid response, and the importance of community safety. From the University of Texas Tower to Uvalde's Robb Elementary, these tragedies remind us of how fragile everyday life can be. While the stories are heartbreaking, they teach us something important. Preparation, awareness, and quick action save lives. By remembering the victims and learning from the past, we honor their memory and work toward a safer future for all.